My guest tonight is a hilarious comedian who just launched her new iHeartRadio podcast, the Nikki Glaser Podcast. Please welcome our really good friend, Nikki Glaser. Nikki, how are you?
Conan, I'm so good.
Yeah.
It's so good to see you. I love you.
Well, I love you
Sorry
too.
to start out that way.
No, I know.
I always do.
And you read it just as we rehearsed it. You look amazing. I want to say that, first of all. You look absolutely gorgeous. I know you're down in the
Thank
Cayman
you.
Islands. It agrees with you. You have this ethereal glow.
It's two ring lights and fake eyelashes, and I've literally painted my body to look like I've gotten sun because I tend to stay out of it. But yeah, I'm in the Cayman Islands. I've been here. I'm shooting a show that I can't really talk about, but it's the best time of my life. Conan, in the Cayman Islands, it's 2019 here. There's no COVID. And when I got here, I quarantined for 2 weeks, and now you just go out and about and you have to wear a mask. Like, it is really, my ears just my ears are so small, they won't stay in. You're so little. So you can go out now in public, and I'm living like before COVID. And my first stop, maskless, was the grocery store. And I do have the answer for everyone in the United States who's like, what's it going to be like when the world goes back to normal? How long will it take to adjust?
Yeah, what's it going to be? Tell us what it's like after COVID.
You'll be back to normal by aisle 5. Like, it literally, the excitement wore off so quick. I was coughing on people halfway, like trying to get them out of the way so I could, reach the oatmeal I wanted to grab. And I was sampling the milk. I mean, like, you're instantly back to normal. And so I can confirm with everyone who is here from the States is like, yeah, you were over it instantly. It was novel for a second. But the thing is, everyone's like super horny for everyone because now people's mouths are just like out. And it almost looks like it's just like a nudist colony for faces now, where you're just like, his mouth is like right there. Like, I can't believe it's just out. Like, you could just like kiss anyone, and you just never thought of the world that way.
So you think
we shouldn't do that, but.
Well, wait a minute. I want to explore this. You're saying that when the masks come off, because we're so used to not seeing that the mouth and that part of the face, when it comes off, we become hypererotic. And we start thinking about the mouth.
You never knew it was just so there until it was taken from us. And now mouths are just everywhere, and they're tempting. And you just look at someone's mouth. You know how, like, before you kiss someone, you like look at their mouth? Like, everyone's doing that now. And it's made for some really awkward, doctor's appointments. And the dentist has always been weird like that. But it's a new world.
Did you make out with your dentist? Is that what you're saying?
It was a while. I haven't been to the dentist in a really long time. But yes, when I used to go regularly, it was a thing.
Okay. I have a question.
Well, it is weird at the dentist. Their fingers are like in your mouth. Conan, I wasn't even planning on telling you this, but I did have a dentist that used to just like pick a Sirius station, and like that would play.
Yeah.
And he would pick like, I don't know, like the Pulse or something. And he would be like, his fingers would be in my mouth. And I remember one time the song was playing, "You're a crazy bitch, but you're so good, I'm on top of it." It was like, that song was playing as the dentist fingers were in my mouth, and I just was like so aroused. No, it was really inappropriate.
I want to go to your dentist. I really do. Just because I think I wouldn't need Novocaine. I would just be so hyper eroticized that I'd need nothing.
Yeah, no laughing gas. Just put on some I don't know, Jane's Addiction, whatever it is.
Let me ask you something, Nikki. You said something that caught my attention. You said, when you're about to kiss someone, the way you look at their mouth. And I can't. Look, I've been a married man for a long time.
Sure.
But back in the day, I was quite the dog. Arrgh! And what I'm saying is, I don't remember staring at people's mouths before I kissed them.
I just think that's a good way to let someone know if you want to, like, you just like stare at their mouth, and that'll let them know that, like, yeah, you're good to kiss, because guys don't know when to kiss. They don't know, especially in the Me Too, post-Me Too era. They don't know when's a good time to kiss. I have a lot of advice actually on this about when it's okay, or like, at least I think I know. So guys out there, they're like, I don't want to make a wrong move. Girls don't like to be the first to make a move. So this is what you do. If you like a girl, you sit next to her enough, like where your arms are touching, where it's like barely touching, you know, like you could put a piece of paper in between you and you wouldn't feel it, right?
Right.
So like barely touching, so that you're not doing anything aggressive. And if the girl likes you and would be down to kiss you, she will leave her arm there. She won't move closer, but you can, if you don't like the guy, you can pull away and his feelings won't be hurt because he'll be like, oh, she didn't even know I was touching her. Yes, we did. And we don't want it to go further.
Okay.
But if you leave it, it leaves flush, yeah, good to go. And if he's also staring at your mouth or if she's staring at your mouth going like,
right.
Like
so
that to her.
When you talk about staring at the mouth, it's like getting in this close and just staring. And that's the sign.
I also want to say that for deaf people that are reading lips, if someone's deaf and reading lips, don't take that as they want to kiss you. They might just be trying to, understand
what you're saying. I'm really glad that you quickly.
Yes, but also I will say when I want to kiss, I like to read Braille. So there are mixed messages. I don't know what I'm talking about, Conan. I'm so sorry. I had a plan here, and we.
No. I'm thrilled. I'm happy. Now,
good.
You are now. I've been hosting for a long time. You're hosting this show. You can't say much about it, but you're hosting this show down in the Cayman Islands, which is basically you're describing the gig I want, not the gig I have.
It is a dream.
What are you learning?
I am on a set.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been on location. Have you ever been on location, Conan, where you're like, it's like summer camp where you're with people for like over a month and you forget about there's a world outside of the show. It's like this bubble. It happened to me on Dancing with the Stars where it's like, I got kicked off Dancing with the Stars. I got first, voted off is how I like to say it. But as soon as I got off the show, I didn't know how to like walk around in the real world. I was just like, I was like, dancing is life and I can't do anything else. I can't go back to comedy because you get convinced that that's all that matters.
Right.
And I'm on the show right now where, it's intense. Have you been on location before?
I haven't. The closest I've come is doing travel shows, but no, then I'm always on the move. So no, I haven't done that kind of gig. And now what I'm curious about is now that you're hosting, what are you learning about yourself as a host? What is Nikki Glaser like as a host?
I've been watching other hosts. Obviously, my goal is to be I love TV hosting. You are a huge influence on me. And pretty much no one else. Like I'm obsessed with you, and I know, and and you aren't one of these heroes that I meet where you go, oh, he's not as good as I thought he was going to be. You're just as good, if not like better and more personable, like off camera, at least to me.
Thank you.
But then you find out, and you seem to be good to the people you work with, like from what I've seen. But you find out when you talk to like the crew and get to know these people who have worked on sets, that the stories that seem cartoonish of celebrities having these egos of like no eye contact on set, things that you think are just mythical are actually real. Like there are celebrities that you and I love, who you and I probably have met before, who would only be nice to us because we're celebrities, but they treat people like trash and they literally will not allow eye contact. There's several people that I don't want to name because I'm scared of them and they're powerful, but I find that to be so just disheartening and awful. And so I try to be really nice and have like a connection with everyone on the crew. So to juxtapose that, I've started, when I arrive on set, I make each crew member have 4 to 5 minutes of deep connected eye contact with me. And it's slowed down production quite a bit. We're about 3 weeks behind at this point. And I've fallen in love with 1 key grip and 2 gaffers. And there's several HR complaints. And I don't really know what HR stands for. I'm assuming it stands for hand jobs rule. I don't know. But
I haven't looked it up either. I don't think that's what it means, but until I look it up, I can't be 100% sure.
You can't be sure. No one can really be sure what HR means. So I've just made an extra effort to be nice and to make people who are working on the show feel a part of the show, because there is just this divide of celebrities. And it's not just about the celebrity thinking they're better than everyone else. A lot of times people just put that on celebrities. And I'm not even speaking for myself. I do this too, where you see someone in public that you really admire and you go, I don't want to bother them, or I don't want to tell them how much I love them because they hear it all day. But because of that, everyone thinks we hear it all day, and so no one says it to us.
Right.
I literally had to call like the executives of the show, like my bosses, and go, you aren't complimenting me enough. And they go, well, you're great. We figured you knew. Like, we gave you this job. And I go, I am a celebrity because I am so desperate for love from strangers, and anywhere I can get it. You will never give me a big head where it will never be enough. So please compliment me. And I've done that in my own life. Like, I know that, I read about the bystander effect in the one day I went to my psychology class in college and I wasn't hungover, and I learned that Kitty Genovese in 1964 was stabbed to death. 38 people heard her screams for help. No one called the cops because everyone thought someone else was calling the cops. We do this all the time. Oh, someone else will do it. And then no one does it. And she bleeds to death on the sidewalk. And that's what it's like when you don't tell me my hair looks good. I'm bleeding to death. No, it's not as extreme, but do you relate to this,
comparing. You're comparing.
It's the same thing.
You're saying it's the same thing. It's pretty much the same thing. And I'm not disagreeing. But it's the same thing that you not getting enough praise on the set of your reality show is pretty much the same as the stabbing death of Kitty Genovese in 1964.
Yeah, those are, I'm saying it's exactly the same.
Yes.
And yes, so thank you for understanding me. There is no nuance here or exaggeration. I'm being literal. I feel just as abandoned. But Conan, do you relate to that? I mean, you must, because even when I'm around you, I hesitate to gush about how much I love you and what I think of you, because I'm just like, he hears it all the time. He must. He's like the funniest person. He's not like, he is the funniest person alive. I've always said that. And but do you relate to that, Conan, that people sometimes don't say something to you because they're like, you hear it all the time, and you're like, no more.
Well, that's the problem, is that it's a no-win situation, because what happens is, first of all, if it's someone like you, like an attractive woman, that's all I dreamed about when I was a kid and in my teens and through my 20s and then well into my 30s was a very attractive woman complimenting me. That was my dream. So that's not going to go away. I'm not going to lie. I love that. But at the same time, what happens is self-loathing kicks in. And so you compensate for it. And it gets very complicated. And so what I've found is that compliments don't last. Compliments are like Tic Tacs. And when someone says something critical, that's like a roast beef dinner that's in your belly for 6 months. So I don't know why, like, you can get 1,000 Tic Tacs and you don't feel anything, but then one person says one thing and you never forget it. I don't know why. It's crazy, but have you found that to be true?
That's why I don't read comments. Like, I miss so many positive YouTube comments saying how much, they want to have sex with me, and maybe saying that I'm like pretty funny for a woman or whatever. And I miss all of those things that really build me up, because I don't want to read the one thing that says she's a little too raunchy for me. That's the thing that I get, is people like to give you compliments. I know you've had this, where they're like, oh my God, I love you. My dad doesn't get you. Or like, they have to like juxtapose it with someone that, like, I get you, but this table at the comedy club, I was watching them the whole time. They hated you. How lame are they? I've made them.
Why do they think you need to know that? Why do they think you need to know that someone else doesn't like you?
Exactly. I'm telling everyone out there, don't couch your compliment with something else negative. No one likes it that way. And also, like, people stop telling me that, like, people always talk about my comedy special. I do talk about sex a lot. It's not because I'm like, I just want to challenge people and make them uncomfortable around their family. It's because it's like what I want to talk about. That being said, it does make people uncomfortable sometimes, and I get that. Stop watching my special with your grandma. People are always like, can't watch Nikki's special with your 2-year-old. It's like, who's watching adult comedy specials with their family surrounded by them? This isn't like Lilo and Stitch. Like, I am, I don't understand. I'm being admonished.
Nikki, many times when my kids were younger, I made the mistake of saying, let's check out Nikki's
Bangin'.
Let's watch out. Let's check out Nikki Bangin', and they would be like, what is it? I'd say, it's pretty much like Lilo and Stitch, and it never went well. My son, is scarred for life. That's the question. You read your comments, and your comments are, or when people tell you about them, it's, I would like to have sex with her, and that makes perfect sense. My thing is people who really like what I do and are big fans with me, none of them want to have sex with me. That's not it. I don't get that. The people who love my work say, I love his work. And then if you said, would you like to just hold hands with him? They'd say, absolutely not. Absolutely
Conan,
not. It doesn't translate. It doesn't translate.
Listen,
I don't have that thing.
I will not let you, as someone who is not a fan of Conan outside of you, tell me how I process my feelings about how funny you are, because I don't want to say anything out of turn, but it does equal sexiness. And someone asked me the other day, what celebrity is your hall pass? And I gave it to, who did I say? My friends here. I gave it to Conan and Dave Matthews.
Oh, you're kidding.
Don't mean to make things weird, but
that's not weird. You know what I love? You waited till you were out of the country to tell me this. That's what
I feel safer telling this to you now.
You waited till
if you came after me, you'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks.
What I love is that you told me during a pandemic, you waited till it's during a pandemic, you're on a secluded island in quarantine, and we're doing this over Zoom. And then you say, like, by the way, you're my hall pass, and it's a 24-hour, it ends in 24 hours. That's fantastic. That's a great hall pass. Thank you.
I don't even have hall pass. I mean, I'm not even in a relationship, but I do want to correct you and say, and for any man who's listening that aspires to be as funny and as prolific as you are, that women are attracted to funniness. I mean, funny. It doesn't work the same way for women. I think I've talked to you about this before. Like, men aren't like, she's so funny. Like, I want her. I want to be inside her. It's more like just like the guys aren't turned on by funniness, but girls very much are.
Well, first of all,
it's hot.
I disagree. A lot of men, including myself, are very turned on by women that are funny and make us laugh. It's a huge. That's a huge deal. I've just noticed that whenever the world's most beautiful women are interviewed, these supermodels, they always say, what are you looking for in a man? And the first thing they always say is, I want him to be funny. And then a year later, they always marry the same douchey club owner. You know what I mean? Who just happens to be worth $1 billion and is the least funny person who ever lived. And they're like,
you don't know what he's like when we're alone, Conan.
Yeah,
he's so funny.
He knows so many limericks.
Oh my God! That to me is you're right. Funniness is first, and as a comedian, I think that I can say that and people will believe me. But I don't feel like I can rest on just being funny to attract the right person. I do feel like I have to do all the other stuff, and it's a fair balance. But I do think that I hear what you're saying. Yeah, women don't really show their work when they say they're attracted to funny, and but I will.
You will. Okay, we'll get to that later. Much later. I have to talk to a lawyer, and it's very complicated. I got to talk to my wife and then 3 lawyers.
I'm so sorry to your beautiful wife, who I've stalked endlessly to be like, what can I do to be like her? I know how you guys met. I know the scene you shot together. I know your whole love story. It's very sweet.
Well, one of the things I love about her is that she would watch this and find it really hilarious. Like, that's her.
Good.
She would find it really hilarious. And she would... anyone who professed their love for me, she would take them aside and go, you're welcome to take a shot. You don't know what you're in for. She'd be like, you can if you want, but I got to tell you, there's troubled waters there.
I'm sure you're a nightmare.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm a nightmare.
In many ways. No, I really, So, but I am looking for, I'm single, I'm 36, and I am, I'm trying to assess these things. That's why I offered that up so quickly, is because I'm realizing I'm starting to place different value on things that I need in a relationship. For a man now, I really want a man who is okay with, he can cry, he goes to therapy, not cryotherapy. Just because you watched one Joe Rogan YouTube clip where you learned about a breathing, Wim Hof breathing, doesn't mean you're ready to be a giving lover and have compassion. But I want a guy that works on himself. I go to therapy. I recently stopped because I realized I was too emotionally advanced for the men that I was wanting to. Men need to catch up a little bit. And I'm not saying that as a dig. Men obviously don't go to therapy as often as women do, because you guys are, society tells you that you're not supposed to feel. Right. And men are really scared to go to therapy, that they'll get in there and you'll be sitting across from like an old woman with a PhD who's like listening to your feelings. She's jotting things down, and she'll be like, okay, I heard everything. And she'll close her book and go, I have like a diagnosis. You're gay. And that she'll go, and you know what? I have to tell everyone in your life because it's just my job, and that's what I have to do. And
which is not
and
a
all your coworkers.
Which is not a therapist's job, by the way.
Exactly.
It's clear you know nothing about therapists. And now I have to tell everyone because that's the therapy code.
Yes, they really think that there's going to be some admission in that will make them like the scariest thing that heterosexual men fear is like, I might be gay. You know, It's just a dumb fear, obviously. This is a joke, but I think that there is something to that. And I'm just telling you, like, men, if you go to therapy and you cry and you talk about your feelings, you're not going to be gay. She's not going to like open your eyes up to you're gay. And if you are gay, that's great too. I would really appreciate that. And because I don't want to keep dating you and have you take out your aggression on my asshole. I really couldn't commit to that joke. I gave up. I was like, it's too much. Conan's kids might be watching.
No. My kids won't see this. I'm just now checking the rafters. The whole crew just ran up into the rafters. Everyone was completely blown away by that. You know, it's interesting though. Like, do you find that the men that you dated in the past probably needed to go to therapy?
That's always the reason, you know, and it's nothing like, I don't need you to fix yourself. It's not going to get fixed. We're all but be working towards it. Acknowledge that things aren't working for you anymore. My ex-boyfriend, we broke up, I think because of that mainly, and because I couldn't stop talking about him on podcasts, and breached his trust a lot. But also, he wasn't going to therapy. We started hanging out again. We're friends again. And the other day, he was like, oh, I got to go at 3 because I got therapy. And I was like, really? Like, I was like, oh my God. And he goes, oh no, physical therapy. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, I go, what for? He's like, oh, on my shoulder. And I was like, what? How? He's like, oh, I punched a wall because I forgot to DVR The Good Doctor. I'm like, oh yeah, don't look into that burst of aggression. That has nothing to do with your anger towards your father. Just keep living life the way you've been doing it.
So he wasn't, for a second though, you thought he was going to therapy and you were interested. I
was so horned up. I'm going to need physical therapy for how quickly I dropped to my knees and started unbuttoning his pants when he told me he was going to possibly address his complex emotions. God.
Well, you know what? You've put it out there that because there are a lot of people that would be very interested in dating you, Nikki. A lot of good people, and you've put it out. It's good. You're putting it out there that you want a guy who's done some of the work and is open to being emotionally available, maybe exploring their stuff, seeing a therapist,
tying me up. Like, wait. Okay. That was part of the therapy.
I love that you've lost your earphones 30 times during this interview.
Dude, but I had to borrow some from people because I cannot keep my own, and they are far too big for my tiny. Again, I have the very tiniest ear holes.
Oh man, that's the biggest turn on for me.
It's just they're so tight. A Q-tip makes me feel. No, I don't even know what
By the way, that's nobody's turn on. I have the tiniest ear holes.
It's not. I literally went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor because my voice is just like I sound pretty rough. I'll save that. I went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor. My doctor was like very hot, and I didn't see it coming. And I would have like prepared because whenever I'm around a hot guy, I make sure all my holes are like in working order. Not those because I was like at the ear, nose. He put in a thing, and I have like too much wax. I don't know why. I'm just like a waxy gal. And he looked inside and he goes, "Whoa! Do you ever use a Q?" It's whenever I stick a Q-tip in, it literally looks like I stuck it in a baked ziti. Like I just make. It was so embarrassing. I was like, "Do you want to check any of the others? They're good."
Yeah. No.
But yeah, I'm looking for a guy. And I'm working on myself. And I wanted to like put a call out there on your show. So anyone watching, you're a fan of Conan? I'm a single lady. Here's what I'm looking for: someone who's emotionally evolved. Someone who's doesn't have to be funnier than me, just has to get my jokes. If you like Conan, you're gonna get my jokes. And then also, looks-wise, I can be a little shallow. I don't mind height. I'm height blind. I don't care. I like a short guy because if you go for a short guy, you can tend to get hotter guys if they're shorter, like on discount. It's like getting like designer sweater at Marshall's. Like it's like overlooked by most people. So like you can get hotter in the face if you can get a 10 in the face if you go 5'7" in the height, is what I found. But so height doesn't matter, but like I like how women always tend to describe men's like physical traits that they like based on like athletes. So if I was building my perfect man, it'd be like a like swimmer's shoulders, like runner's legs, and like a golfer's asshole. I don't know what that means. That was just a dumb joke. I
what
just
does
wanted
that
to make
mean?
you laugh. I literally don't know.
I didn't know
I
golfers...
just wanted to be able to hold these earbuds in place.
Oh,
I wanted to be the same size as mine. What am I talking about? Oh, my mom and dad are watching. And
please. You can always call them and say, the Conan interview got canceled. Don't watch.
That's true. But they love you too much, and they also they got me.
I met your parents. They came by the show. They came by the show.
My parents are the reason I'm cool. They're much cooler than I am. And my dad took me aside when I was in, I think, 7th grade, and was like, there is a show that I just came across it last night. It was your 5th anniversary special. Oh. And he taped it on VHS, and I watched it, and I just, I've told you this before, but it was this moment for me where I was like, something out there. You felt this way comedically about people. I'm understood. The things I've been laughing about and want to laugh at are being done, and this is just. I watched your 10th anniversary special last night, oddly enough, and was just reliving some of the greatest moments. And
that's nice.
I'm just so grateful you're still around and will continue to be around. And like,
that's really,
calling you my friend is one of the greatest gifts of my life.
Well, you will see the same thing, which is when you put this stuff out there, it's only because I've been doing it for a long time, but when you put stuff out there, you're going to meet so many young people, men and women, who come up to you and you're not even aware. You're just doing your thing right now. And then they're going to come up to you later on and say, when I was 7, when I was 10, when I was 15, I got in trouble because I watched you and it really connected with me. So you have no idea how many friends you're making right now. I mean, you hear it all the time from people, but it just goes. And to me, that's the nicest thing about being in this business. Absolutely. That, the money's not bad, but that's the best part. That's the best part.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure I mention that you have this great podcast. And you're doing it daily now, which I do one once a week, and I can't imagine doing it every day. That's got to be.
Well, you do this show every day.
Yeah,
that's true. And
that's true.
That's what I'm trying to do here. Is I don't have a TV show right now that I'm doing daily, and I just love the idea of, I grew up watching late night Letterman, just people you hear every day, and I love morning radio shows, getting to know like a group of people. So. And I just want to get those 10,000 hours in. I like working. I'm not doing stand-up right now. It's an outlet. It's a really fun show. It's called the Nikki Glaser Podcast. It's on iHeartRadio podcast, but you can get it wherever you get podcasts. And it's with my best friend. I moved my best friend from New York to live with me in St. Louis, which is where I've been since the pandemic. I got a place and I moved my best friend in to live with me. We recorded in my living room. It's so fun. It's the most fun I've ever been having. And I like working every day. And I'm looking to, do this the rest of my life. And I just want to get as good as possible. And you got to get those reps in. And I mean, but I wanted to say, following up, like I know that someday I'm going to be a certain age and people that I admire are going to be like, oh my God, you're the reason I stepped on stage the first time. But I got to say, Conan, like you're one of those people that the return hasn't diminished on you with age. Like sometimes people take a step back. You're still as funny, funnier than ever.
Well,
and it just is really, it's nice to be a Conan fan. You keep delivering, and there's just endless content. And I just really appreciate you. And the podcast is just a new level of fandom. And I'm sorry, but I just got to get these compliments in.
Okay, well it's really sweet, but now I'm determined to really, really disappoint you. So hang on for that. That's coming soon.
You just can't.
Well, let me make sure, because your podcast is great. The Nikki Glaser podcast is available on iHeartRadio, and it's doing great. That's the word on this.
It's doing really great, and it's just me and my best friend, Andrew Collin. I live with him. I'm a 36-year-old woman who chooses to live with a 40-year-old man who's my best friend. We're both straight. We're both single. We are not having sex. Everyone's like, you're getting married. I'm like, no, we're not. We just live under the same roof. Right. We share a dog together, and we don't have sex. So we are happily married.
You understand marriage better than anyone.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you check out Nikki's podcast on iHeartRadio and wherever you get your podcasts and listen to it because you're going to love it. And Nikki,
thank you.
Always a joy talking to you. I can't wait till we're in the same room again.
Me too.
And
Thank
we'll
you,
talk
Conan.
about earwax extraction because Q-tip is the worst thing you can do.
Right. It just like shoves it back in.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that.
Yeah.
I know that.
You got to go see someone and get it pulled out and then you can keep it and you can make a candle. True story.
Is that real?
No.
My Q-tip, I just realized, looks like you when I pull it out.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. It's long and orange. Yeah.
It really does.
All right, Nikki
And
Glaser,
it's,
you be well and have fun while you're there, okay?
Love you, Conan. Thank
Love
you so
you
much.
too.
I will. See you next time.
Bye.
And it just came out again.